Alright, what's good? So I just got done taking my NASM CPT exam. I took it Saturday and it's now 2 days from then. And I'm pretty much making this YouTube video because so many people online just gave horrible advice. Like every video I saw before this was saying, you gotta study this, you gotta study this, you gotta study this, memorize this. And like, honest to God, 70 to 80% of the exam is 3, maybe 4 chapters. It's actually really easy. And people are telling, like people online are just saying to study all the wrong shit. And I'm just gonna come in and tell you exactly everything you do need to study, and what's gonna be in the exam, and you know everything you need to know to pass it. So, okay, let's go with the first thing: is don't read the whole fucking book. That is just fucking ridiculous. Like I didn't even read the book. What you need to do is you need to go to the study guide and go through the domains, and then take the practice questions, the practice quizzes, and the practice exams. 60 to 70% of the NASM CPT exam is going to be questions directly from the quizzes and the practice exams. So you don't even need to like read the book. You just need to watch the videos they have, then go and read the reviews at each chapter, and then take the quizzes. And then once you're consistently getting like 90s and 100s on the quizzes, go on. And then eventually there's like the domain quizzes, the domain test, the 20 question ones. Do those, you'll be fine. It's like, yeah. So let's get into the 3 chapters that you need to know. So the first one's chapter 6. Chapter 6, let me just go through my notes here. Chapter 6 is pretty much almost all about the overhead squat assessment. So you need to know the overactive and underactive muscles in the overhead squat assessment. And people online were saying, oh, you need to memorize this, memorize this. No, the way NASM does it is really like easy and obvious. So like what they'll say is you do this in the overhead squat assessment. This, like your knee goes inward. What muscle is overactive? And what they'll do is they'll give you 3 underactive and 1 overactive muscles. So you don't need to memorize, you know, my knee goes in, my soleus, my gastrocnemius are overactive, all these muscles are underactive. No, all you have to memorize is what muscles are overactive, what muscles are underactive. And for 90% of them, they're always overactive or always underactive. So, for example, if your knee moves inward, they'll say, what muscle is overactive? They'll be like soleus, and then they'll be like, you know, just like random underactive muscles: gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, vastus lateralis, vastus medius, VMO. And if in the exception they do give you 2 underactive or 2 overactive muscles, one's going to be like an upper body, one's going to be a lower body. So if your knee moves inward, right, your lats aren't going to be overactive. Your lats have nothing to do with your knee, right? So it's just kind of simple stuff. So for chapter 6, you just need to memorize the overhead squat assessment, and even then, you don't even need to think of this big chart like this muscle, this. You don't even need to memorize that. Just memorize which muscles are overactive, which muscles are underactive. That way, when you come to the exam, you'll see, okay, this is overactive, this is underactive. This one's different than the other ones, I'll choose that one, simple. You do need to know the rock part walk test, the Davies, the shark skill test. Just know what they are. For the shark skill, you need to know, I think they asked me one question on how do you get penalized. You get penalized if your hands get off your feet, or if you step out of it's just easy stuff. Memorize the BMI, memorize what's obese. Over 30 is obese, 25 to 29 is overweight. Memorize that. They love asking questions on that. Durden-Wormsley test, ask about that. It's the body fat percentage test. Just remember, it's bicep, tricep, subscapular, and iliac crest. Those are the 4 places. You need to memorize that. Know the maximal heart rate, 220 minus client's age. Know the 3 target heart zones. Zone 1, 65 to 75. Zone 2, 76 to 85. Zone 3, 86 to 95. They love to ask that. Just know the 5 kinetic shading points. And yeah, that's that's pretty much like, that right there is probably 50% of the exam. And 30 to 40% of it is just asking which muscle is overactive, which muscle is underactive. That is a huge part of the exam. If you get that right there, then like you're guaranteed to at least get 50%. You only need 70% to pass. So the second chapter that's extremely important is chapter 14, which is the OPT model. You have to memorize the OPT model. Memorize the 5 phases, the stabilization, muscle endurance, muscle hypertrophy, muscle strength, power. They love to ask questions about, what's a good stabilization exercise. Anything that says stabilize in its name is a stabilization exercise, go figure. Second, the muscle endurance is just any superset with a stabilization and a strength exercise is muscle endurance. And then power is supersets with power exercise instead of a stabilization exercise. You need to remember all the reps, all the percentages. They did ask one tricky question. It was like, which of these is a power range? And not power, it was hypertrophy. And the hypertrophy percentages for maximal intensity is similar to stabilization, muscle endurance, not stabilization endurance. So that one was a little tricky, but yeah, you don't really even need to memorize the exercises even. You just need to memorize what rep ranges are for what, and what's suitable for what, and you do need to memorize how you progress exercises. So just, 2 hands to 1 hands to 2 hands to 1 hands to alternating hands or whatever. I can't remember exactly. It's easy. And then the last chapter you need to memorize. Let me flip through here real quick. Chapter 19. They do ask a lot of questions on chapter 19 and 20. So you need to know the state of change model, the pre-contemplation, contemplation, all that stuff. They do ask about 10 to 12 questions on that. Active listening, they ask like 3 questions on that. And the 4 P's of marketing. And just memorize. Just remember that the first step is to figure out your desired annual income, and that's honestly like it. Like the whole book. People online were saying, "Oh, you need to study all this." Blah blah blah. It's 4 chapters. It's literally 90% of the exam is 4 chapters. They do ask a couple questions about your heart, and I'm pretty sure I got those wrong because I didn't really give a shit. They ask almost nothing on supplementation. They ask, they ask like 2 questions, like what's a good amount of carbs in a daily or whatever, or if you eat too much protein, like what happens? And it's like you get liver or kidney damage, one of those. Like it's honest to God, 70 to 80% of the questions are from the practice exams. If you can do the practice exam 3 times and get an 85 or above, you're almost guaranteed to get, like, they take the questions right off. It's not that hard. It kind of amazes me that the fail rate is so high. It's like only like a 60-some% pass. And I was just kind of amazed by that because if you just do the practice exams, it's that easy. Yeah, don't spend your time worrying about, oh my God, there's so much stupid shit that like they teach you that they don't go over the exams. You're probably never going to use if you have a client. But it's not that hard. What else? They love floor prone cobra. Floor prone cobra is in the fucking question. That's the answer. If proprioceptively rich environment is in the question, that's the right answer. They also don't spend money on any of these. There's these apps that they want you to spend money on to learn. Don't spend any money on any of these study guides or any of that shit. All you need to, there's a YouTube channel called Show Up Fitness. Chris from Show Up Fitness. Literally, that guy taught me better than the book in the study, the actual study guide they gave me did. Go watch that dude's videos. Go watch his videos on the overhead squat, and it makes complete perfect sense. Show Up Fitness. Just watch that. Don't spend money on study guides. Don't spend money on. No, it's not that serious. It's not that hard. We'll do good. They give you 2 hours, and I did mine in 30 minutes. Like I was in and out like that. Just memorize the same 4 chapters. Chapter 6, chapter 14, and then 19, 20. That is 80 to 90% of the exam. That is the most important part. Read through everything else just to know, but it isn't that serious. It's not that hard. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh yeah, if they ask you a question you have absolutely no clue on it, like you've never read about it, don't worry about it. There was probably 3 to 5 questions they asked me on the exam that like I didn't see anywhere in the book. I didn't see anywhere in any of the study guides. And they never asked me a question on the practice exams. And they do ask 20 questions for research purposes, and I think those 5 were the ones that they asked for research purposes. They don't count towards your final score because I can't even remember what it was. Something about it was weird. Something about I don't even remember. It just something about your muscles and I don't know, your skeletal, your bones or something. But I remember they never asked me anything like that in any of the practice exams. Even like the anatomy chapter they didn't ask. So I wouldn't worry too much about that because I think they do ask a couple questions that just for research purposes. I think that's what it is. Oh yeah. Remember these 3 terms: altered reciprocal inhibition, synergistic dominance, reciprocal inhibition, and also add one more, autogenic inhibition. Those 4 terms are in chapter 6 and they're also very important. Wait, one last thing while I was editing this that I remembered. Make sure you schedule your exam before. So like, you have to schedule it with PSI, and make sure you schedule that before, because if you wait too long, they do have like a certain period, and I actually like lost track of time with the pandemic and shit, and then I had to reschedule it, and it cost $150 extra, so definitely don't do what I did, but yeah, you should be fine.